Hello students, this is our lecture number 2nd in the topic general chemistry. In the earlier chapter we have lastly discussed the atomic number and the mass number. So I was about to tell you about the isotopes and isobars which have some relations with atomic number and mass number. So let's begin with that. So first of all, it is isotopes. Atoms of the same elements having the same atomic number but different mass numbers are called isotopes of the elements. So what is it saying? That the atomic number of two elements is same but they have different mass number. So these both will have a relation of isotopes. For example, C12, C13 and C14. These all three are the isotopes of carbon. Carbon is an element with the atomic number 6, but in the atoms C12, C13 and C14, it is having mass number as 12, 13 and 14 respectively. Like the atomic number is same for C12, C13 and C14. What is it? It is 6. So the atomic number is same, but talking about the mass number, it is 12, 13 and 14. So it is different. So they all have a relation of isotopes with each other. Then talking about isobars, atoms of the different elements having the same mass number but different atomic numbers are called isobars of the elements. Here what is happening? The opposite. What is it? That the mass number is same but atomic numbers are different. That is, example is calcium and argon. The atomic number of these atoms is different. Calcium has the atomic number 20 and argon have the atomic number 18. But the mass number of both these elements is 40. So if the mass number is same and the atomic number is different, they both comes under the category of isobars. So this was it. Now we have the next topic, electronic configuration. What is we know that all the different elements have different atomic number, therefore they have different numbers of electron. If we say that the atomic number is different, it implies that the number of protons in all the elements will be different with each other. Like if I compare the number of protons with the number of carbon and nitrogen, so they will have different number of protons. And because the atoms are electrically neutral, if the number of protons differ, the number of electrons also differ. So the elements with different atomic number will have different electrons. So the electronic configuration is the arrangement of electrons in various energy levels around a nucleus of the atom. We have seen that the electrons revolve around the nucleus of the atom. Like nucleus is in the center and the electrons revolves around different levels, different energy levels. So the arrangement of electrons in those energy levels, like in the first energy level how many electrons will come, and then in second energy level how many electrons will come, and why the arrangement is following like that, that all is the study of electronic configuration. So what is it? It is that the electrons will be arranged for all different elements. Okay, then the energy levels are also called energy shells. The energy levels which we have discussed, those shells, these are also called shells and are given by Bohr, that is K, L, M, N, etc. The number is not like first shell then second shell, it is like the K shell, then L shell, then M shell, then N shell. So that is the energy levels, and the order of energy in the energy level is K has the least energy, then L has more energy, then M will, the energy increases with the increase of shell number. So there are some rules with which the electrons are distributed into the shells. So we will discuss those rules and then we will try figuring out the electronic configuration of some elements. So Bohr and Bury scheme, like because Bohr and Bury were the scientists behind this idea of electronic configuration, a scheme for the distribution of electrons in various shells. So how will the electrons will get distributed in the shells? They have told us. So these are the rules which we have to learn to use electronic configuration concept. So the first rule is maximum number of electrons in an orbit calculated by 2n square, where n is the number of orbit and may be equal to 1, 2, 3, etc. So here the orbit word is a new word, that is again the shell. What is it? The the energy levels are also called orbits, like the electrons revolves in the orbits. So how the number of electrons, the maximum number of electrons in a shell can be calculated? It is calculated by the formula 2n square, where what is n? N is the number of orbit. Like if I say the first shell, then n will be equal to 1. If I say the second shell, then n will be equal to 2, and so on. So n will be a natural number like 1, 2, 3, etc. And how will we calculate the maximum number of electrons? That is given by the formula 2n square. So if the name of shell is like K, L, M, N, and the number of shell, like if I know the K shell is the first shell, so the number of shell will be 1, and then L shell is the second shell, so the number of shell will be second, and then M shell is the third shell, N shell is the fourth shell, or I can say the energy level also, or the orbit. So if I calculate the maximum number of electron, what will give it? Like 2n square, and if I put the value of n equal to 1, so what will I get? 2. So the maximum number of electrons that can be accommodated in the K shell is equal to 2. And then talking about the L shell, that will be equal to 8. Why 2n square? If I put the value of n as 2, so it will be equal to 2 multiplied by 2 square, so that is equal to 8. If I put the value of n equal to 2, and if I put the value of n equal to 3, so what will be the answer? 3 square is 9, and then 3 square multiplied by 2 is equal to 18. And similarly, if I put 4, then I will get 32. So this was the maximum number of electrons count which we get for different orbits. And then the next rule is the maximum number of electron in the outermost orbit will not be more than 8. What is the outermost orbit? Outermost orbit, like the last orbit which is to be filled. So the outermost orbit cannot have more than 8 electrons. If I fill the electrons, like I have filled the K shell and then the L, and if I come to M, if I come to M, what will happen? I can maximum put 18 electrons, but if it is the last shell, I cannot put more than 8. So for the outermost shell, we can only put maximum 8 electrons for the outermost, not any other. And then the new shell is formed as soon as the outermost shell acquires 8 electrons. So it is happening that if 8 electrons are filled, we can move to the next orbit. It is not necessary to fill the whole electron table. Like here I have to put 18 electrons to 18 electrons. I can put 18 electrons in the third shell, maximum 18 electrons, but I can move to the fourth shell if 8 electrons are completed in the third shell. I will take an example for this third point. Okay, so we will have these examples of electronic configuration for the atoms which we have discussed. So first of all, beginning with the hydrogen atom, that has the atomic number 1. So number of electrons in that atom will also be equal to 1. So hydrogen atom will have the nucleus, and in the first shell it will have only 1 electron because its atomic number is hydrogen 1, and the number of electrons is equal to the atomic number. So this is the first atom. And then second, we have helium, which have 2 electrons. So in the helium we have 2 electrons, so they all will be accommodated in the first shell only. There we will not move to the next shell because 2 electrons can be filled in the first one. Then talking for the third atom, we have lithium. Lithium have 3 electrons, and we know in the K shell we can only put 2 electrons maximum. So for the third electron to put, we will move to the next shell, that is the L shell. So we will put 2 electrons in the, it is like I have the nucleus, and then I have a K shell, and then I have a L shell, and then M, and so on. So if I have to put electrons in it, what will I do? I will just make a round point that is for the electrons. So these dots we see are the electrons. Electrons are represented using the dots in this in this concept. So what is happening? We have put two electrons in the K shell and then the third electron in the L shell, that is the second shell. And then talking about beryllium, it has 4 electrons. So for 4 electrons, what are we doing? 2 electrons in the first shell and then 2 electrons in the next shell. And then if I have 5 electrons, 2 in the first and then 3 in the second. And then for 6 electrons, that is carbon. 2 electrons in the first shell and then 4 electrons in the outermost shell. For nitrogen, it has the number 7. So if the electrons are 7 in number, we can put the 2 electrons in the innermost shell, that is the first shell, and remaining 5 electrons in the second shell. So here you can see that it has 7 electrons. 1, 2 in the first shell, and then 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. These all totally are equal to the atomic number of nitrogen, that is 7. And then for oxygen, 2 in the first shell and then 6 electrons in the second shell, that will complete the number of 8 electrons, and then so on. Talking about the example aluminium, let's say aluminium has an atomic number of 13, so it will have 13 electrons. So if it has 13 electrons, how will I put the electrons? I will put the first shell with the 2 electrons and then I will put a comma for representation purposes. So what is it? The 2 electrons in the first shell. Then I will put 8 electrons in the second shell. Maximum number of electrons that can be put in the second shell is equal to 8 also. So I will put 8 electrons. So totally up till now 10 electrons are done, but 3 electrons are still remaining. So I will move to the third shell to put these 3 electrons. So you can see that these are the 2 electrons here and then the 8 electrons in the second shell, and then we have the 3 electrons in the third shell. So this was all about the electronic configuration, and the pattern follow is like we can put in the first shell we can put only 2 electrons maximum, and in the second we can put 8, and third point, that is we cannot put more than 8 electrons. We can move to the next orbit if we have completed the 8 electrons in any shell. So taking the example of calcium have the atomic number 20. So what I will do, I will put the electrons like 2 first in the first shell and then 8 in the second shell and then again 8 in the third shell. Now you will think that 10 electrons are already done and 10 are left. So why have I put 10? Why have I put 8? It should be 10. So 20 electrons will all be there. But this does not happen. What actually happens is that the electronic configuration is like 2, 8, and after putting 8 electrons we move to the next shell to put those 2 electrons. So the electronic configuration of calcium is, so this 10 is not correct. Why it is not correct? Because the 8 electrons if filled in any shell, we can move to the other shell. So for calcium with the atomic number 20, the 20 electrons are put in order 2, 8, 8 and then second the 2 other electrons. So this was the examples of electronic configuration and we have discussed the order. Now this is a table where all the first 18 elements have the list with the electronic configuration. So first of all, talking for hydrogen have the atomic number 1 and the number of protons, neutrons and electrons are also discussed in this table. So we know that number of protons and electrons is equal to the number of atomic number, that is number of protons, number of electrons and atomic number. These both have the same value. So if I have put the atomic number, I can as it is put the number of protons in the same thing and the number of electrons again the same. So for hydrogen, number of atomic number is 1, number of protons and number of electrons both are 1. But talking about neutrons, so hydrogen atom is the only atom that does not have any neutron. So the mass of that atom is equal to the mass of proton. Why? Because we have discussed the mass number. What is it? The mass number is P plus N. That is, so if N is 0, so we can say the mass number will be equal to P. So for hydrogen, the mass is approximately equal to the mass of a proton because there is no neutron present in it. If I have only one electron, how will I have the electronic configuration? So for the electronic configuration, the shells are KLMN and I will put one electron in the first shell. And for the valency chart, we will discuss valency after discussing what valency actually is. Okay. Then helium, we have 2 electrons, and here the protons, neutrons and electrons both are 2. So for distribution of electrons, we will put 2 electrons in the first shell, and then so on. What we have done, the electronic configuration is 2, 1, and then 2, 2, then 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 6, 2, 7, 2, 8. Now here, see this. What we have done, if we get 11 electrons, what will we do? 2 electrons in the first shell, 8 electrons in the second, and then 1 electron, because in the second shell only maximum 8 electrons can be accommodated. So 2, 8 and 1, and then this pattern again follows, like 1 more electrons increases and the third shell is also getting filled up. So this was the first 18 elements electronic configuration. You can check the number of protons and number of electrons are everywhere equal, but number of neutrons varies. Like for this it is equal to the proton, but for this it is not equal to proton, and then not again equal, not again equal, but then again they have same equality, then changes. So number of neutrons have no relation with the atomic number, they have different pattern. So for learning them, for calculating them, we can use the mass number. We have calculated a question in the last lecture that for calculating number of neutrons, what we do, we subtract the atomic number from the mass number, and then we get the value of number of neutrons. So this was about electronic configuration for those particular atoms. But why electronic configuration is so important? So it is important because this helps us to understand the chemical reactivity of elements. When the outermost shell of an atom is completely filled, the element is unreactive. What is it saying? It is saying that if the outermost shell is completely filled, like I can say that, for example, neon was in the example, you might not be able to see this color, so I have written neon here and that have the atomic number 10. So with the atomic number 10, how will I write the electronic configuration? I will write it as 2, 8. The electrons will be distributed first in the first shell 2 electrons, and then second shell 8 electrons, and the 10 count is complete. So I can say that this is completely filled because the maximum number of electrons can be 8, and if I have filled it completely, so it becomes unreactive. That is that they do not react. We know that chemical substances react with each other, but any substance with the outermost shell complete will not react. So the electronic configuration is needed to discuss the reactivity of substances, chemical reactivity. So what we see here, if the outermost shell is completely filled, the element will not react, so it becomes unreactive. And when the outermost shell of an atom is not completely filled, the atom is reactive. The opposite thing, that I can take any example. So I am taking sodium, that is the number 11, and it has the configuration 2, 8, 1. Now talking about the outermost shell have only 1 electron, but we have discussed that maximum 8 electrons can be accommodated, and if it is incomplete, so it will react to complete its outermost shell. Why? because all the elements react in order to get the stability. Stability is the point where they do not have to react, they becomes unreactive. So to gain that stability, what all the elements do, they react and try to get that noble gas configuration. What is it? The all the elements tend to achieve noble gas configuration. What is noble gas? Noble gas are like examples: helium, neon, argon. What have they? They have the atomic number 2, then 10, and then the atomic number of argon is 18. So these are, and etc., and many more like krypton, xenon, etc. But I am talking about these three. What they have the electrons, number of electrons as 2, 8, 2, 10 and 18 respectively. Writing the electronic configuration of helium, it is 2. Writing the electronic configuration of neon, it is 2, 8. And then writing the electronic configuration of argon, what it is, 2, 8. And then 10 electrons are done and 8 are left. So I will put 8 electrons in the third shell. So what you can see that here the outermost shell is all completely filled. Here it is 2 electrons, then in the outermost shell 8 electrons, and then in the outermost shell 8 electrons. So these are completely filled. So noble gases are those gases which have outermost shell as completely filled, and that configuration is tending to be achieved by all the elements. Like all elements want to get this configuration with the outermost shell complete. So for that they react. Then taking valence shell and valence electrons. First of all, what is a valence shell? The outermost shell of an atom is called the valence shell. So we were using the outermost shell again and again, so we have given it a name, that is the valence shell. So what is it? The valence shell. And then the electrons present in that valence shell of an atom are called the valence electrons. So the outermost shell is called the valence shell, and the number of electrons in that particular outermost shell is called the valence electrons. And the remainder of the atom, that is the nucleus and the other electrons, is called the core of the atom. Electrons present in the core of an atom are called core electrons. So what is happening? You can see the core of the atom. So we have discussed that the valence shell is the outermost shell, and the remaining part. What is the remaining part? The inner shells and the nucleus. That is all called the core of the atom. And the electrons present in the core are called core atoms. That is a very obvious thing. Then they are important because they determine how an atom will react. Like what the valence electrons tell us. Valence electrons tell about how the atoms will react. We have discussed that valence electrons plays the part, like we have said that the electronic configuration let us know about the reactivity, how that whether the outermost shell is filled or not. So the valence shell is filled or not will be described by the valence electrons present in it, and that will help us to know whether the element will react or not, whether that atom of the element will react or not. They also determine the valency of an atom. So this is a new term, valency. To discuss valency, we first have to know about the bonding. Okay, so let us discuss the bonding, and then I will tell you what valency actually is. Elements containing less than 8 electrons in the outermost shells are chemically reactive and unstable. We have discussed that noble gases are reactive, are not reactive because they are very stable. They have the outermost shell as completely filled. But the other elements, all the other elements which have electrons less than 8 are reactive. Why they react? To get that noble gas configuration. So the all elements react and they are unstable. They want to gain the stability. Okay, so they tend to acquire the stable outermost electronic configuration of the noble gases. So what they want to do, they want to achieve that noble gas configuration, that is a stable configuration for the outermost shell. So the noble gas configuration is achieved by, like if we have to achieve that noble gas configuration, three type of processes are done by the elements, like losing, gaining or sharing of electron. So first is losing electrons. What is the meaning of losing? To give away. So some elements give away their electrons to get that electronic configuration. Like I can say about the example of sodium. What it has 2, 8, 1. Why? Because it has the atomic number 11. So if this sodium give this 1 electron, so it will have the 2, 8 configuration, and that is a stable configuration. So this is a stable configuration. So sodium will give its one atom. It will lose an electron to gain that noble gas configuration. Then gaining of electron. What is gaining? To take, so taking the example chlorine have the atomic number 17, and for 17 how will we write the electronic configuration? 2, 8, 7. So 2, 8, 7. If we give one electron to the chlorine atom, what will happen? It will have the configuration 2, 8, 8. That is a stable configuration. So this is the method to gain the noble gas configuration, and other one is sharing of electrons, that you will discuss in higher classes. So here we have valency. So what is valency? Valency is that number of electrons gained, lost or shared by the atom of the element so as to complete its octet is called the valency, or the combining capacity of that element. So if I talk about sodium have given out 1 electron to gain that configuration. So that one is its valency. Okay, and here this term octet is a new word. Octet means the group of 8 electrons in that outermost shell. So to complete its octet, so that number of 8 electrons to be completed by all the elements are is called as octet. And to complete that octet, what happens? Either the atoms lose the electrons or gain electrons or share electrons. So they have shared some particular amount of electrons, that is they might share 2 electrons, they might share 3 electrons, etc. So that particular number is called the valency of that element. So for sodium the valency is 1. Why? Because it has given out one electron. So when the number of valence electrons are from 1 to 4. Now for calculating valency, we calculate the valence electron first. How will we calculate the valence electron? We will write the electronic configuration, and valence electron is the number of electrons in the outermost shell. So we will have the valence electrons value from there. And if the valence electron value is 1 to 4, then the valency of an element will be equal to the number of valence electrons, if it is 1 to 4. But if it is more than 4, what will we do? The valency of that element will be 8 minus number of valence electrons. So let us take any example. Let's see, I have taken the example nitrogen. Nitrogen have the electronic configuration, the number is 7, and the electronic configuration will be 2, 5. So here the electronic configuration is 2, 5, and the number of valence electron is 5, that is more than 5. So for writing the valency, what will be the valency of this? 8 minus 5, that is the valency of nitrogen is 3. So this is the way of calculating valency if the number of electrons is more than 4, and for less than 4 it will be equal to that. So for the next topic we have how do atoms exist. So atoms are not able to exist independently. The atoms of only a few elements called noble gases such as helium, neon, argon, krypton are chemically unreactive and exist in free state, that is as single atoms. Atoms of most of the elements are chemically very reactive and do not exist in the free state. So here the noble gas thing is again discussed. What is it? That the noble gases are unreactive and they are stable. Why? Due to their configuration. They do not have to complete their octet or anything like that. So those are the atoms. Those noble gas atoms are the only atoms which can exist in free state. which can exist in free state. All the other atoms have to react and then they will get some stability. So they are, the noble gas atoms are unreactive and they exist as free state. Free states means they can live independently, they can live freely. And then other atoms, they do not exist in free state, they first react and then they get some configuration of noble gas, that is their stability. Atoms usually exist in two ways, in the form of ions and in the form of molecules. So we will discuss about ions. Ions are the positively or negatively charged particles formed by an atom or on the gain or loss of one or more electrons. That is, if we know that the atoms lose their electrons or gain their electrons to gain the noble gas configuration. So for that, what is happening, the atom will have some different quality. What? Because if electron is given out, what will happen, the atom will no more will be electrically neutral. Why it was electrically neutral earlier? Because the number of protons and the number of neutrons were equal, they both have charge. Protons have positive charge and electrons have negative charge. If I take out one electron, what will happen, the positive charge will increase. Why? Because the negative charge is taken out. And if I have added an electron or number of many electrons, so what will happen, the negative charge will be increased. So the atom will have different quality, that is called ion. Ion is what, the positively or negatively charged body that have that is gained. How? That is achieved by the lose or the gain of electrons. If the electrons will have some transition, then the atom will have the charge on itself. So that charged particle is called ions. So there we will have two types, the positively charged and the negatively charged. So talking about the types, we have cation and anion. Cations are the positively charged atoms formed when an atom loses one or more electrons from its valence shell. So what is happening, cation are those positively charged. How will we get the positive charge? If the electrons is taken out, so the negative charge will decrease and the whole body will be getting positive charge. So if electrons are taken out from the valence shell, then it will become the cation. And talking about anion, if I will add number of electrons, so that will give it the negative charge. So the negatively charged atoms formed when an atom gained one or more electrons into its valence shell are called anions. So cations are positively charged, anions are negatively charged. Okay, and we will have the proper description of it. So we have here, this is the sodium atom. What is the atomic number of sodium? That is 11. So it will have 11 protons, 11 electrons. So 11 protons and 11 electrons. So that will have overall 0 charge, because the charge cancel out each other. And how is the electronic configuration? It is 2, 8, 1, because I will put 2 electrons first and then 8, then total 10 and then 1 remaining in the last shell. And if I take out this 1 electron, what will happen? The number of protons will remain 11, but the number of electrons will decrease to 10. So the number of protons are 11, but the number of electrons are decreased to 10. So the overall charge will be 1 plus. So now it will be written as this, that Na and the plus sign on the superscript side on the right hand side of the number to indicate that it is a ion, and it will have plus 1 charge. Why? Because 1 electron is taken out. So that gives us the valency also, and the electronic configuration of this nu will be 2, 8. You can see the 2 electron in the first shell and then 8 electrons in the next shell. Talking about, so this is what a example of cation. Now I talk about an example of anion. I have chlorine. Chlorine have the atomic number 17 and 17 have the electronic configuration 2, 8, 7. So I have 17 protons and 17 electrons. If I add 1 electron, what will happen? The electronic configuration will turn to 2, 8, 8. So the electronic configuration will be 2 comma 8 comma 8 because one electron is added. So if one electron is added, the number of electrons will goes to 18. So and the protons remain 17, and 17 protons and 18 electrons. So the negative charge will increase and the overall charge will be 1 minus. So we will write it as power, mean like in the superscript we will write minus sign to indicate that it is an anion. So the cations have positive charge and the anions have negative charge on their superscript, and this indicates that it is different from the atom, because we cannot say this and this are same. Why? Because the electron number is not same. So for representing them, the symbol is we write that charge on the superscript on the right hand side. And then we have another classification of ions as monoatomic and polyatomic. By the name you can see monoatomic, that is only one atom is present, and polyatomic more than one atom is present. So monoatomic ions are those ions containing single atom per ion, that is the Na plus K plus Cl minus. They have only one ion. Okay, and then polyatomic ions are ions composed of several atoms per ion, that is you can see this NH4 plus. So it have two type of atoms, N is also there and nitrogen is also there and hydrogen is also there. So these have different atoms involved in their formation. So these are called polyatomic, and polyatomic can also be further classified as diatomic, triatomic, tetratomic. That is a different classification. So moving to the next thing, we have the examples here. What are they? Like talking about valencies of some simple and polyatomic ions. First of all, taking the positive ions means the cation. If the valency is 1, I have the example copper plus 1, hydrogen plus 1, potassium plus 1, silver plus 1 and sodium plus 1. Sodium plus 1 we have discussed, that has the electronic configuration of 2 comma 8. And then I can discuss the potassium. Potassium has the atomic number 19, and if I take out one electron from it, what will it have? The electronic configuration as 2 comma 8 comma 8, because one electron will get out and 18 electrons will remain. That has the electronic configuration same as argon. Then taking the examples calcium, copper. Now you can see the copper has +2 valency also and +1 valency also. So these atoms have variable valency. Variable means changing. So some elements have variable valency, that they can exhibit more than one valency. And then iron +2, lead +2, magnesium +2 and zinc +2. Aluminium exists in +3 state, and then iron +3 also. So iron also have +3 and +2. So it again have variable valency. Then negative ions, that is anions, hydride, chloride, bromide, iodide. And then oxide and sulfide, they have -2 valency, they have -1 valency. And then nitride, that is -3 valency. Now we will discuss polyatomic ions. Polyatomic ions means they have more than one atom. So ammonium have NH4 plus, and then hydrogen carbonate, it has HCO3 minus, and then hydroxide ion OH minus, then nitrate ion NO3 minus. So you can see the charge on the upper side is 1 in the magnitude. It might be positive or negative, but it is 1. So this has the valency 1. And then carbonate, it has CO3 2 minus and sulfate has SO4 2 minus. So this is 2 in the magnitude, so valency is 2. And then phosphate, it has PO4 3 minus, so the valency is 3. So the valencies might be positive or negative, but are of 1, 2, 3 or 4, because if we subtract that number of valence shell electrons from 8, then also we get 1, 2 or 3. So this was about ions. Now we have another type of existence of atoms, that is molecules. Molecule is an electrically neutral group of 2 or more atoms chemically bonded together by means of attractive forces. Or we can say a molecule is the smallest particle of a substance, element or compound which has the properties of that substance and can exist in the free state. Molecules can be formed either by the combination of atoms of the same elements or the different elements. So what are molecules? They are the existence of atoms as molecules. It is like they combine. Like I will have one oxygen atom and another oxygen atom, and they will combine to form O2, and that is a molecule. I if I talk about water, what is there? H2O. So I have two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom. They combine together and form a molecule. So what are molecules? They are group of atoms. What are molecules? They are group of atoms, and that is whole as electrically neutral. That does not have any charge, and they combine with some kind of bonds, chemical bonds. Okay, so and also we can say that it exists freely. If I talk about hydrogen molecule is H2, that have two hydrogen atom, and these all exist freely. Like we talked about atom, that does not exist freely. Why? Because it does not have noble gas configuration. It is reactive and it reacts. So now O2. Now if I talk about O2, the O is reacting with O, another O, to form the O2 molecule, and that have a stable configuration, and that is why they are existing freely. And the combination may be of same element and of different element. For same element we have hydrogen molecule like H2. So if it has H2 or O2 I talk, so this have same elements, but for different elements I can say that H2O or CO2. So this have different elements combined together. Then I have the types of molecules. So types of molecules have two types: molecules of elements and molecules of compounds. What is happening in molecule of elements? The molecule of element contains two or more similar atoms chemically bonded together. This word is to be noted, similar atoms. So for elements, the molecule of elements, what we have similar atoms combined. Like example, hydrogen, oxygen or ozone. Ozone have three oxygen atoms combined, and then chlorine, Cl2. So you can see the atoms are of same kind. O is added to O to form oxygen, and three O's form ozone, and two chlorine form chlorine. So this have same type of element, similar type of element. Then the noble gases like helium, neon, etc. exist as single atoms, that is He and Ne respectively. So their atoms and molecules are just the same. So we have discussed noble gases are unreactive and they exist freely. So they exist in the single form, like the helium is existing as He. So it will have their atom and molecule as same. So this will have the molecule also. Helium is also a molecule. Okay. And then talking about molecule of compounds. So you can just imagine what it is. It is the opposite of elements, that is they will have different kind of atoms together. So it is the molecule of compound contains two or more different type of atoms chemically bonded together. For example, I can take water or hydrogen chloride, that is HCl. We have discussed it is acid, strong acid, a hydrogen chloride. So it have hydrogen atom and then a chlorine atom, and they both are different. And then I talk about ammonia. Ammonia is NH3, and that has one nitrogen and three hydrogen. And then carbon dioxide, that is CO2, one carbon and two oxygen atoms. So these have different atoms, and that implies that it is the molecules of compounds, and molecules of elements have same atoms combined together. Then atomicity. Atomicity is the number of atoms present in one molecule of element. What is atomicity? If I talk about the molecules have atoms combined together. But now if I count the number of atoms, that is the atomicity. If I talk about hydrogen have two H atoms attached to each other. So that have two number of atoms combined together. So that count is called the atomicity. The number of atoms present in any molecule. Like I talk about water. Water have the formula H2O. So here I have two hydrogen atom and one oxygen atom. So overall I have three atoms. So it implies that atomicity of water molecule is 3, because it is counting totally as 3. So the number of atoms present in one molecule of an element is the atomicity. So we have discussed many molecules in the last slide, and they have different atomicities. So on the basis of their atomicities, the elements can be classified as monoatomic, diatomic, triatomic and tetraatomic. What do you understand by the word mono? That is 1, and then di, that is 2, tri implies 3 and tetra means 4. So the monoatomic, any monoatomic molecules means that will have one atom in it. Diatomic molecule means that will have 2 atom in that molecule. Triatomic means 3 atoms. So atomicity is what? The number of atoms in one molecule. If I talk about hydrogen, the molecule will have 2 atomicity, that has 2 atoms. You can see this subscript sign, that is 2. And then talking about O2 molecule, that again has 2 as atomicity, that has 1 oxygen atom and then another oxygen atom attached to each other. Then talking about ozone, ozone is having 3 oxygen atoms attached to it, so the atomicity will be 3. Now phosphorus exists as P4, and that have 4 phosphorus atoms attached to each other combined with chemical bonds, so it will have the atomicity of 4. So what is it? That atomicity is the number of atoms in one molecule, and this is, we had the examples. Talking about more examples, like I am taking helium. Okay, let's take the argon first. So the name of the element is argon and the symbol is Ar. I have told you that the noble gases exist freely, and if they exist freely, they have only one atom in it, so they have the monoatomic. The atomicity is monoatomic, that is, the atomicity is 1. That is, the argon is represented as Ar only. And then we have helium. Helium is again a noble gas that exists again as 1 atomicity and is represented as He. If I talk about hydrogen, hydrogen symbol is H, but hydrogen does not exist as H simply. It exists as a diatomic molecule, that is H2. Okay, so it is a diatomic molecule and the symbol is H2. We always write the number, the atomicity in the subscript, right hand side and the subscript. Okay, and then we have oxygen atom. Oxygen does not exist as O, it exists as either O2 or O3. So if I talk about O2, it will have 2 atomicity, and if I talk about ozone, that will have 3 atomicity. So we are talking here about oxygen first. Oxygen have diatomic molecule, that is O2. Then chlorine. Chlorine have the symbol Cl, but it again exists as Cl2. So for Cl2, it has 2 diatomic molecules. And then for ozone. Ozone is what? Ozone, you might know that our earth is also covered with a layer of ozone in the upper layer to protect us from the ultraviolet rays of the sun. So that is a layer of ozone, and ozone formula, ozone symbol representation is O3. We write the subscript 3 on O symbol, that is ozone, and that is a triatomic molecule that has 3 O atoms attached to each other. So for ozone we have triatomic molecule, so and represent it as O3. Then we have phosphorus. I have told you just before this slide that phosphorus exists as a tetraatomic molecule, that is, it exists with 4 atoms combined to each other. So it will be tetraatomic. Tetraatomic mean we will write 4 in the subscript of P to represent phosphorus. And then we have sulfur. Sulfur has the symbol S. Sulfur has a symbol S and the atomic number of sulfur is 16. Sulfur exists as a polyatomic element, polyatomic molecule with 8 atoms attached to each other. So for sulfur, it is octaatomic. Octa means for 8. Octa is used for 8. So sulfur exists as 8 molecules. So I will complete my lecture here, and in the next lecture we will discuss about the chemical bondings again, and then we will discuss the module. Thank you.